right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our final episode of UMW in Scotland. My name is JD, and we're here behind with the cast and crew of our program. Missing a very important member, Carlin. Hope you're doing well back home. And a big happy birthday to Isla. Happy 16th birthday, a former audience member there. So hope he's celebrating well. We do have some new audience members. I've brought in some audience members. Say hi to my parents who are joining us from San Antonio. They flew in. Only took you 30 million hours to get here yesterday, but you're here, you're there. But we've got a great show. We've got some great updates on the projects. This is, again, we want to kind of set up where we are heading with these final documentaries that everyone has been working hard to film, to edit. So we'll get into that and some other fun footage along the way. But let's get the show started, shall we? Hit it. So let's get started. Our first group, I appreciate the merch is excellent already. We're kilted. We've got Nessie socks, got sweatshirts. I'm jealous. I've gotten nothing yet. I got to get some tips for where to get some good stuff.
Got a couple days left to do it.
You're right. I gotta take advantage here. Before we get into it, let's introductions again. Just remind everyone your name and what the project is you've been working on for your documentary. So Riley, start us off. Yeah.
Yep. I'm Riley, and I am focusing on the art scene here in Edinburgh, specifically tattoo art.
Yeah.
I'm Kira, and my topic is Scottish Gaelic.
Nice.
I'm Owen, and I've recently pivoted to Harry Potter tourism.
And I think we've had a number, I think especially on the ends of the couch there, some bigger pivots in terms of kind of honing down. And Kira, your topic a little bit as well, kind of as good documentaries often do, they evolve in kind of unexpected ways. But I think none more so for you, Owen, where you kind of, you just cut up on the comedy scene, made this decision to switch to Harry Potter tourism. And I think it's been the right decision. It feels like you've been having a really productive past week.
Yeah, comedy is dead, and I'm very happy that it's dead. I've had such an easier time doing this other project. I've just been able to go out. I've had long filming days, but also very productive filming days. And I've actually been able to attend events that I can film at and get interesting content out of.
Yeah.
So I went to a Harry Potter tour.
And you went with a few folks here,
yes.
right? Yeah.
I went with Lila, Kelso, Lee, and Hannah.
Okay.
And
so, big crew. Yeah.
Big crew. And I liked it. I had some fun, even though I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
But even though I look like a complete dork, it was a fun experience, and I also got an interview.
Yeah, so we got some interview, we got some footage of that. Let's not belabor it. Let's see some of what you filmed. So let's go ahead and roll this first trailer.
The city of Edinburgh has an incredibly rich history, boasting stunning medieval architecture and serving as a home for generations upon generations of Scots. More importantly, though, someone once wrote a book there.
I don't think any of us quite envisioned quite how big, quite how crazy.
We often have confetti by Tom Riddle's grave. You'd have to be a real Harry Potter freak, wouldn't you?
One, two, three.
Horatio Lumos.
For the first 10 house points, what is the name of the first Harry Potter book? Yes, your hand was
Harry Potter.
Everyone indeed, 10 points true. Ravenclaw, fantastic.
I
I have one more question, and I think you know what I'm going to ask about.
I can sense it. Yeah, I can sense it coming.
So, J.K. Rowling. Here it is.
Here we go.
All right, I feel like I want to start at the end there. You set this up, the elephant in the room there. So that was something I know you were like concerned about. You know, like there is the issue of J.K. Rowling and recent comments and kind of all, and I think you were a little worried that they would not be willing to chat about that. And doesn't seem like that's what you found at all.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by how they were sort of handling this situation because going into this documentary, I was like not sure if I really wanted to focus on it that much because I was trying to capture this the larger phenomenon of fandom tourism that's not specific to Harry Potter. But I found that, like, as the title suggests, it's not something you can really ignore. It's sort of like is a backdrop of this whole thing, and I thought that my interview subjects were very, very subject. I've had one so far, but he was very willing to talk about it, and I expected it to be like, you know, we're not supposed to say about it because they're supposed to market to Harry Potter fans and they don't want to cause controversy and stuff like that. But it turned out that yeah, he was very willing to talk about it. He had very good opinions on the matter, in my opinion, aligning with me more than I thought I would. That they would, so I've had a pretty good experience so far, and I'm excited to sort of navigate this topic in the documentary.
And what's left, right? Any final filming experiences or spots?
So I have one possible interview. Someone's agreed to do an interview, but it might have to be over Zoom because we're running out of time here, unfortunately, but that's okay. Apart from that, I have a trip to the Museum of Context. That is just this big gift shop for Harry Potter stuff. It has line going out the door.
Yeah, I've seen the line on Victoria Street, right? It's just in the middle of the street, just a queue.
It's crazy. Yeah. I didn't realize it was a thing. I walked in there without knowing it was. I got yelled at.
Oh, you just skipped the line.
I didn't know it was a thing, and I was walking out. I was like, "Oh, this is a Harry Potter film." And I walk in like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Okay, well, damn it." I look like a complete. Anyways.
It's all right, learning. You're learning. Like, all right, well, I'm excited to see that. Maybe chat some of those fans and get some interface with some actual fans since you're a little bit more on the fence. But man, okay, I'm excited to see it come together. So I think easy transition to your topic, Riley, because you also pivoted a little bit. You were looking at more art writ large, and you've made the choice to focus more on tattoo art. And you spoke a bit to that last week, but tell us a little bit more about why you felt like that was the right choice to narrow in on that.
So yeah, so I was gonna focus on art generally, like more traditional forms of art, like oil paint and sculpture and, you know, all of that, because I love art. And as I sort of went about trying to contact people, it was really hard for some reason to get artists that really wanted to speak about their art. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll focus on alternative art, including graffiti and tattoos. And I did speak to a couple of street artists, but they didn't have time to meet with me. And I may or may not have gotten my own tattoos. So I was like, okay, let me just really focus in on that.
I want to save that for after the trailer. But yeah, we will get the big reveal soon. Yes,
yeah, sure. Just stay tuned, you know? But yeah, so like I started talking to tattoo artists, especially like when I was getting my own tattoo, and I was just like, wait, they're like so talkative, you know? They want to talk about tattoos. And I think that it's an underappreciated art form. And you're gonna have to stay tuned in my documentary to like look into more of that. But I got some interviews with a couple of different tattoo artists, and they are some characters. They said some really cool and interesting stuff.
I want to see. All right, so let's go ahead and roll this. Take a look, because I know we had the one tattoo artist last time, but I think we got way more interviews. Let's go ahead and take a look.
The history of it is now gone.
And they call me JFK because the F stands for feminist. Let's start there anyway.
She's never received any like negativity.
tattoo artist fucking great. Oh no, but my body's a temple. Ah, but have you seen temples lately?
Right.
They're pretty well decorated.
Oh man, you were not lying about characters. That was, oh man, it was a lot of fun. But I think I asked Barry the lead. We gotta see the tattoo now. All right, so yeah, let's
it's down here
here
on my leg.
Hey, very
Sort of
nice.
Moment, little thistle. It is Scotland's national flower, and it's in a watercolor style. Shout out to Sanatorium Tattoo. Where actually another group member also got a tattoo. So they done some beautiful work. They added some wildflowers for me, and it just means a lot to me.
And why the thistle for you?
Because it is Scotland's national flower, I knew I wanted to get something to sort of like remember the time that I spend here, the month that we have studying abroad. And I've talked to multiple artists, and they're like, yeah, you know, we see thistles a lot. It's a very sort of basic tattoo for Scotland. But it's basic for a reason, you know? It's beautiful. It's sort of this like tough flower. It's very representative of Scotland itself. So yeah, I just want to take a piece of it home with me.
And I think, you know, your initial interest was kind of in alternative art, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like you've, not the trajectory you expected, but still gotten to that. And I like kind of what you get at the documentary of like this idea of, you know, just art forms that aren't as appreciated, respected, and it feels like, you know, you've really hit on one that's kind of a rigged representation of that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of changing happening with like social media and you know, people being original and traditional tattooing sort of changing a lot. So you're just gonna have to watch my documentary if you're really invested in that.
All right, and that is coming soon. So we will have more updates on that. But let's get on to it. So Kira, I want to talk a little bit about your piece because it hasn't been a full, like you've been looking at Gaelic and its kind of place in Scottish culture, especially here in Edinburgh. But your project kind of has evolved in these kind of interesting ways where I think it's not exactly the project you thought it was going to be when you first started, if that's fair to say. Yeah.
I came here thinking that I would get a more clear answer to my questions, and the more I talked to different people, the more perspectives I got, and I figured it would be more honest and probably better for me to make my documentary more of like my learning process.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we'll see that a little bit in the piece. So we've got some new clips which I want to talk about as well. But a bit of that kind of like, evolving aspect of your documentary. So let's go ahead and take a look at your piece.
One thing which I think is quite important to remember is that not everybody is an English speaker first in Scotland.
The number of native speakers has declined quite drastically.
The vitality of Gaelic culture depends not just on preservation in the existing families, but also in people coming in from outside.
I feel like an idiot baby. I don't know how to use a camera. I don't speak the language. I can't find anyone who does. I was being a little bit dramatic, I think.
Oh, baby, don't you forget about me. Don't.
Nice. And I think so. I imagine that first clip of you was week 1. That last one was that week 2. And do we have like more of a journey, or is it?
That would have been after my first interview with Matt.
Oh, got it. Yeah, who we saw featured in that. I mean, it's so, I love documentaries that kind of have that reflexive quality where you can kind of see your you know, how you've kind of learned more along the way with it. I do want to ask about the footage because it's something you set up early on. You went to this Gaelic church service, right? And that first time you went, week 1, you didn't bring cameras, which I think was the respectful choice. But you went back, asked very politely to see if they wanted to talk, and I think a resounding yes was the answer, right? Yeah,
yes,
lots of people,
formed a line.
Yeah, so what were those conversations like? How was it that second time going back?
They were all so like kind and so ready to talk about it, and like I think that they think this is a really meaningful thing that they want more people to know about.
Yeah.
So when they heard that I was asking questions, they all were so ready to talk about it.
Yeah. And I know you're still going to kind of evolve in this topic as you're editing and kind of figuring out to say, but like, what to you is the story of kind of Gaelic here as you've seen it now? Because I think you were interested in it as this very endangered language here, the government trying to preserve it. And I think from that perspective, like, what do you think you've kind of an interesting finding that you've kind of come across here?
Well, I got here and I found out that historically, like, Gaelic wasn't originally spoken here. It was English and Scots. And so then my thought was, oh my gosh, nobody speaks it. Like, why am I doing this? But then I talked to more people, and there have always been Gaels here. So it always has been spoken here. It just hasn't been the majority language. And it's still really important to the culture here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm really excited to see the kind of whole journey put together in the final piece, and all these pieces. Really great bunch. Good documentaries should evolve like that. I think all three of you are like a testament to that. So really excited to see the final product in a couple of weeks here. But we have some other pieces. We've got some adventures captured that have nothing to do with your projects. We got a trip to the zoo we want to show off here. We've got another piece. I'll call your piece out, Kira. Watch eagle-eyed viewers. Look for the match cuts, especially between the shots. I think you did some really cool editing with that. And you know, I will just leave your piece open to interpretation, Owen. I think a really great kind of look back over our whole month here, kind of put together in one really great minute. So let's go ahead and roll those and get our next group up there. Well done, y'all. What a great piece to end on. We've done a lot here. Wow, man, it's a month and encapsulated so well. Well, I want to do another merch check-in here. The famous I Love Scotland shirts as seen from the top of Arthur's seat, and some UMW Abroad representatives. I just thought the synergy between the shirts is really nicely done here. But let's go ahead and get introductions again. Remind us name and the project you've been working on here. So, Caitlin, start us off.
I'm Katie, and I've been looking at Scottish traditional dancing. It's called Cayley.
I'm Kelso, and I've been looking at Scottish folk music. I'm Maddie, and I've been looking at Scottish politics, but focusing specifically on Scottish independence.
And Maddie, I'll start with you and kind of speak to that kind of focus, right? That was not originally what you had in mind. I think you had a broader idea of politics, and you've kind of slowly but surely like isolated and honed in on this issue of independence, and specifically the kind of push for independence, the pro-independence movement. So how did that kind of come about to narrow that focus?
Absolutely. So originally my goal was to tell the whole story, both the criticism and the support for the independence movement, but due to accessibility issues and the lack of interviews, I had to kind of change my goal, and now I'm focusing on the hope that's left for the independence movement, and I still think it's such a beautiful story. And even though I only have 2 interviews, like they have such valuable things to say, and they are so passionate about their country. It's really beautiful, and I'm very honored that I even have the opportunity to tell this story.
And I think that passion does really come through in the piece you put together. It's a really great preview of the full piece. So let's go ahead and roll that and kind of take a look at what you've prepared so far.
Let's look.
This is the country I want to live in.
I believe in Scottish independence.
I want to live in a more left-wing country. I want to live in a more open society. And I think Scotland has much more of that.
What would you say to a critic of the independence movement?
A what?
A critic. Like someone who disagreed with you. What would you say to, like, what would you want to say? Would you want to convince them, or would you want to...
Well, to a critic of the independence movement, I would just say, have some backbone and see what happens.
Oh man, so cool. And you know, I think as a lot of it, I learned so much through just kind of watching you all kind of learn about these projects, and even early on going to, you know, the Scottish Parliament, right? This beautiful building in the kind of shadow of Arthur's Seat. It's one of the first things you showed us in one of your earlier packages. But I didn't really know the history of that building and kind of how it even represents this longer kind of push for more Scottish representation within the UK.
Yeah, so I mean, as we know, this is a long historical movement. These people have been fighting for their independence for centuries. And right now they have a devolved government, which basically means they have Scottish Parliament and then there's Westminster Parliament. And the closest thing I can compare it to would be like Scotland is like a state government, Westminster is like the federal government. So they have certain powers, but they're still not their own independent rule. But Scottish Parliament still means so much to them. I mean, they fought hard for it. So in my documentary trailer, I showed a lot of that stone monument on the hill, and it's called Calton Hill Vigil. And basically, people camped there for 12 years straight, rallying and protesting for their own Scottish Parliament. And when they got that, that was like overjoyed, like over the moon. And like, these people are just so passionate about their country and what they believe in and getting their representation. And it's like gives me chills talking to them and like learning more about them. So.
And I mean, we've just been able to see that. I mean, it's you through politics, but I think we've just seen that kind of Scottish pride manifest in so many different ways. I know, Kelso, thinking about your project, right? Looking at folk music and all that, you know, even like it kind of comes out of left field, or like when I don't expect it. So you know, show my parents who are just coming into town, we had a chance to just go out to a pub, just to get something to eat, and then like, almost like organically, suddenly there's 10 musicians just in, you know, playing dulcimers and all these instruments there. And it just was like, oh man, it's just amazing to kind of see the culture just kind of sprout up in all these ways. I know you've been to a lot of different venues and been able to check out a lot of different spots.
Got to see different pubs, and like while a lot of them aesthetically maybe are a little different and have their own character, the vibes are all very similar. They're very welcoming and excited to just get together and play, and they play good music.
And I think that's something, you know, and I want to show the trailer because I think it's something you've been really, you know, careful to capture, like what it's like to be in these spaces, to be in these pubs, to kind of be sitting next to the musicians in a way. So yeah, let's go ahead and roll that. I'm going to kind of show what you put together here.
I've always hankered at playing, you know, wherever I got the opportunity, whether that be, you know, just singing songs or performing with the pipes. You generally find if you're going to a jam session, they'll play session tunes. If you're going to one session, the likelihood is a lot of the other musicians that are going along, they'll all play roughly the same stuff. They might ask one of the other musicians, right, okay, Kelso, what is it you'd like to play now?
These guys going to I don't know. You guys playing the song? You guys want to play?
Really great. Yeah. You know, the thing too is I'm noticing watching again the footage, it's not like often people up on a stage playing, you know, there's music tonight. That might be something we'd see in the States. Instead, it's just like people just feel like they get into a booth and suddenly they whip out a fiddle and off they go. And was that kind of consistent across some of the different venues and spaces where it felt like it had that same feel or that same vibe?
Yeah, often it would be like, maybe there would be a table that would have a little sign like, oh, this is reserved for music at 9 o'clock or whatever. But a lot of times it didn't even have that. It was just like, everybody knows they're gonna start playing music.
It's just so organic in this really interesting way. And I mean, did you see, you know, diversity, you know, not only the kind of the venues you went to, but in terms of like the musicians? Like I think when you started this project, I had an idea of like an old Scottish man on a fiddle would be like an old like kind of folk musician. Is that mostly what you found, or was it a lot of different kind of people and songs and more diverse than you expected?
Yeah, I did find some fiddlers. There were also more exotic things like harmonicas, banjos.
Yeah.
Which I know in America we think of that as being kind of like American music.
Yeah,
but, yeah, a lot of guitars, and they wouldn't even necessarily play Scottish music. It's just whatever the people want to play. So they played like the Beatles or the Cure or.
So in the style of, you know, in more of a folk tradition playing.
Yeah, just whatever. Oh, I saw a guy with a ukulele this week. So whatever you want to play, come play with us.
So a very open door policy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that kind of communal spirit that I think ties nicely into kind of what you found as well, Caitlin, in your project, looking at Kaylee, which it does seem to just be just such an open door thing. It's just like anyone come down, right? Like I you know, and I think it's good to have that in mind because I know we are going to be doing a Kaylee as a class here coming up for our big farewell event tomorrow. So I'm glad we have you here just to make sure we don't like step on each other's feet too much.
I'm so excited to have everyone like experience it. I feel like I've been keeping this like amazing secret, and now everyone gets to know like what it's like tomorrow.
Yeah, we got, you know, Kelso to like walk us through all the music we're going to hear on stage, and then, you know, you to kind of walk us through the dance part of that. Part of it. Yeah, and you know, beyond that, I guess I also got to mention you really traveled a lot this past weekend. You got to go to the Isle of Skye.
I did get to
really
go
exciting.
to Isle of Skye. It was so charming, enamoring every mile, and we all kind of got a taste of what it's like to just have that scenic drive up to the Highlands, but to have it for 3 days, to get off and hike through the mountains and stuff. It was just amazing.
That's so exciting.
It was perfect.
Yeah. Well, I think I do want to, because we got your piece about Kaylee, and we want to get into that. And I think similar to what we saw in Kelso's project, a lot of different spaces. You have a great cut, you know, where it's like the empty hall, and we see it all come alive that we'll see in the piece later. But yeah, what is the kind of thing you're hoping to capture with this piece?
I think the togetherness of like any traditional dance, and being in Edinburgh, like naturally I want to get to the Scottish core of that. I just think that traditional dance, tourist or local, brings people together, and there kind of breaks things that make us different and things that we disagree on. Like dance is something where we all just kind of trust each other and and kind of put things aside, and I think that's beautiful.
And I think I certainly get that from the piece. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's roll it.
The beat, okay, so it goes like this. You go and forwards, 2, clap, 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 and back, 2, and forwards, 2.
But we were actually encouraged, okay, guys, you've got to stand up and go and find yourself a partner and invite somebody onto the dance floor. And that's kind of scary, but it's a life skill.
So I would say Ceilidh dancing is just Scottish social dancing.
It comes from the Gaelic words, it just means a kind of gathering.
So there is no single person Ceilidh dances, it's all about interacting.
Why do I keep going? I think very much it's the social aspect.
Having a Ceilidh is just one way of remembering who we are as Scottish people and being thankful for that and sharing that with people and having a bit of fun.
Well done. And I know we see some familiar interviews, some stuff you've been showing us throughout the past weeks, but I got to point out the one new interview. Again, I'm loving the shirts here, but Eid Haggis
and
Kaylee on.
I know.
We got to get that shirt. That should be the one for it. But yeah, that guy, talk about a fun interview.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was a real character.
He is. So that's David Roy. I met him at the Kaylee Club. He's a regular. He goes every Tuesday, unless they're on break. He goes to like 4 to 5 Kayleys a week, which he'll talk more about in my documentary. But when I met him and I saw his shirt and that's his Kaylee uniform, I was like, I need to interview you. I need to interview you right now. So actually I interviewed him the next morning, like less than 12 hours after I was meeting with him. So
That's so exciting. Yeah, I'm just excited to kind of, again, starting with this dance, but I think you have been finding like all the ways in which it does go beyond just like we get together and the communal aspect, the teaching aspect for young people, which you covered yesterday. So are there other things you're hoping to get into in the full piece?
I don't think so. I think like really just the heart of it is really important. I did capture some of like the technical aspects, but I'm such like an emotion feeling person that I really just wanted to capture like the heart and what makes it so special. And the history here runs so deep, and like just imagining people doing these same moves through the same process that I'm doing now in 2026.
It is
crazy.
You know, I think we're in a country that goes back thousands more years, and you know, I think it's sometimes tough for us to wrap our heads around something like
wrap
that.
my head around it,
and yet the kind of link between the past and the present, as I think you all are finding in these kind of different ways, has been so strong. So it's really awesome you've been able to capture that in your projects. And excited to see the full things. But we do have a couple more pieces that you've put together for us. So we're going to go back to a familiar site, to the Lighthouse Bookstore, which I know you featured in some earlier pieces, Maddie, with yours. A site that we have experienced plenty of on our trip, which is the bus that you're going to be getting into, Kelso. And then a very special birthday celebration we had from a member of our crew that you captured a bit in your piece, Caitlin. So
shout out Lila Dodge.
Shout out Lila Dodge. More to come on that. But let's get into these. And thank you so much, y'all. Excited for the full pieces.
Thank you.
All right, let's roll the bumpers.
All of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am. So many stories of where I've been, and now I got to where I am. But these stories don't mean anything when you've got no one to tell them to. It's true, I was made for you.
Cheers.
I think they're all a bunch of amateurs. I'm very confident in myself always.
Sure, I don't care that it's her birthday.
She's back.
All right, here we go. All right, we had the birthday celebration. We had the birthday girl herself there. Happy 21st.
Thank you very much.
What a time! What a place to celebrate it
I know.
here,
I'm so
right?
grateful to be here.
Your first bar experience. Well, maybe
The first one. Yeah.
No, this is great. You get a month of practice where it's
Yeah.
only 18 to drink, and then now at 21 you've got it down. So some karaoke.
Yes.
A lot of fun with that. I can't believe I still have my voice.
Mhm.
Everyone's still in fine voice today. But some great performances here. Yeah, we went at it, and then we had the very lovely experience of getting woken up by a fire alarm at
Yes. Oh my gosh.
7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
So particularly cruel.
Out of
but
all days.
we power on for the fun, for the people. We power on. Yeah. So I want to do a little gear show. Oh, so we got your shirt. Do we have any other Scotland gear here?
Just got some pins on my
Oh,
hat.
nice. Yeah, the hat just keeps filling up. I love it. Well, let's go ahead and go down the row here. Introduce yourselves again and remind us what your topic, what your documentary is focusing on. So Lee, start us off. Yeah.
Well, as you said, I'm Lee.
Yeah.
And my topic is tartan.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm Hannah, and my topic is the Highland clearances that happen in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I'm Layla, and my topic is punk music in Edinburgh.
It sure is, yeah. So I got to finally, again, one of the benefits I get is I just to kind of parachute in on your various projects and just get to learn a little bit. And I got to do that with your project where you were out at Leith Depot this past Friday, filming some folks, and we got to see a show, got to see your interview, and so you've really gotten a lot of new footage and new interviews even since this past week.
Yeah, absolutely. Seeing the show was absolutely incredible. It's just like getting out there, getting to know people, recognizing people is really cool. Getting to spot, I know what you do for work. And I think that's really cool. But yeah, over this past week, I also got to interview Skinny Imps, which is a band that I was introduced to my first week here. I saw them I think it was a Sunday night or something. It was just incredible show. So I'm incredibly grateful that I got to interview them. So yeah.
And so we've got some of that footage, some of the show footage. Let's take a look at your trailer and see what you've been putting together. Let's roll it.
To anyone out there who says punk is dead or whatever, it's not true. The punk community is well and alive in
I think people are taking punk music in new directions and taking the punk spirit. You've seen the same faces, you build a relationship with the community of the people you see at the same nights.
Because Edinburgh is such a smaller city and there is way less going on, I think, you're when you find the little pocket of scene that you want, you can get to know everyone really quickly.
It's breaking new ground.
Yeah, that quote Pollyanna had there, it's really stuck with me because I think it is so interesting how you just kind of started going to a show or two, and now you know this scene.
I absolutely do.
It's really interesting.
It's very much what I intended for my project, and it's just an incredibly amazing experience that I'm just so grateful for, and I can't even begin to describe it. So you have to watch the documentary, I guess.
Good promo. Yeah, well done. Yeah, and I think as well. I forgot what I was going to say, but I think thinking of because you're going to go back, you're going to edit all this stuff, and you're really involved in the scene back in Fredericksburg, back in Virginia, lessons that you've kind of learned. Not to give away too much of the documentary, but what are some of those that you think are instructive for scenes that you've just seen here about what seems to be working here?
Yeah, I think
the community aspect is so integral to keeping live music alive. I think showing up to venues, you know, getting to know everybody, that's what all those quotes were about. It's like you recognize people so often because you're playing the same venues and you're just, you know, getting to know each other on like a friendly basis. And sometimes there will be overlap in bands. And it's just like a really fun experience to know all of those like intricacies between the bands as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it'll be so cool to see with like all of them there together and that integration. Well, you know, again, I think I have just this great advantage of getting to kind of like learn all this stuff just through your projects. Hannah, that's certainly the way I felt about your project, which when you kind of narrowed to like the Highland clearances, I was like, that seems really niche and small. And now I just see it in books and plaques and like all over. And I just have realized, I guess now with you putting it on my radar, like what a huge part of Scottish identity and history the clearances are.
Yeah, my interview, Matt, he was talking a lot about how like it is talked about, but it should be talked about more in schools here because like it was such like a pivotal moment and it affected a lot of like how the country is now, and even still people are moving out of the Highlands into like Glasgow and Edinburgh. So it's still like a big important part of Scottish history.
And I think your trailer really gets at that. So I think let's go ahead and take a look at that, and then I want to get into some more of the details a little bit more with you. So let's go ahead and take a look.
And I work with so many people who come to Scotland as visitors. And every busload has at least one or two people who say, oh, we came from Scotland, like we had some connection. Oh, it was, you know, it was sometime in the 1800s. You have to kind of say, all right, well, chances are you were, like, moved off your land. Your family eventually at some point or other, however good you're doing now, you were at some point a victim of the clearances. And it's not everybody, obviously, but you know, if your family came from Caithness or the Isle of Skye in 1840, 50, like you weren't doing well. You know, you were moved off the land, and this was your best option.
I mean, that last quote I think really says it. Like, it's everyone is affected by this. It's not just a niche thing at all. Yeah, it's such a huge story.
Yeah, I definitely want to look into it more when I go back to the US, because I know my contact Matt said a lot of people that went abroad to the US ended up living in like Virginia, North Carolina, which is obviously, we're from Virginia. So I think it'll be interesting to see like how these clearances affected people not only like within Scotland, but people that are now like their families came to the US or Australia, New Zealand, other countries, and just kind of like trace the effects of it, because it was such a big part of history here.
Absolutely. I want to call out kind of too, you got to visit the archives this morning too, right? To kind of get into that very thing a little bit. So they very kindly let you film there.
Yes.
And then I think you've got a trip to Inverness on the calendar as well.
I do. I'm so excited. It's in a few days, so I'm hoping to get more footage there.
Nice. So just more and more we're going to get to that. So very, very exciting. All right, well, let's get to our final piece here. And Lee, I think, well, do we want to wait until after the trailer or before? Do we reveal?
The trailer.
Let's do after. Okay, so it's a big reveal. It's a big reveal. I'm overly excited by it there. But you also had an incredibly busy week and kind of building up to a big event, in addition to all these interviews you did, but you got to go to this great workshop in Stirling.
Yes, I got to go to Radical Weavers, and I had a really, really good time. It was super fun. I have to start saving up money to buy my own table loom, because it was like meditative, and it was creative, and it just made me really happy.
Yeah. Well, I think I certainly get that feeling from from the trailer. So I want to roll that. Then a lot I want to get into with you on that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer first.
First question, pretty basic one. Can you just give me like a working definition of what tartan is?
It's a rabbit hole we can go down and get lost for many, many hours.
But they want fashionable clothes made out of it, don't get me wrong, and that's where I come in. If we're taking our time to weave something, it's gonna have meaning.
I would go out tonight, but I haven't got a stitch to wear.
All right, well, I can wait no longer. So you went to this workshop, and you've teased the Adams tartan, the rechristened tartan, right?
Yes.
Is it now officially the UMW
It is
in Scotland?
officially the UMW Abroad in Scotland tartan. I am very, very proud of it. I tried to make it sort of represent the experience of being a student abroad by having the colors of both the American and Scottish flags. And then in order for me to eventually register it, as I plan to, like I've given each color its own meaning, like the light blue is the ocean between the countries, the red is our history under British rule.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've really gone all out.
I mean, good. Well, and I think the other thing that was so cool to talk to you about the workshop was like we actually doing it, right? And like, and especially this is for Radical Weavers, and I think a big part of their mission. But like, it's not just about like weaving a very cool tartan, but it's also like the actual communal aspect of it that was so interesting to hear about.
It's really cool because one of the first things that happened on this trip that like made me get even more interested in the topic was when I first saw the Neurodivergence Pride tartan. And I feel like we've come back around because I learned that Radical Weavers is a charity that is largely focused on helping neurodivergent youth get out more and be more social and develop creative skills, because the act of weaving, it is, again, it's meditative, and it takes both of your hands and it takes a part of your brain that allows you to just start talking. You're focused, but you've got just enough space left to just kind of chat. And like, as an autistic person myself, I felt that.
Yeah.
I loved the creative aspect. I loved the sort of methodical and mathematical aspect, and I loved, like, I talked to strangers more than I usually do. I had a lengthy conversation with a Canadian woman.
Yeah.
It was a really good time.
Great intercultural exchange. I love to hear it. I mean, that's so true, and it feels just like another thread I'm just feeling of like, yes, it's about, you know, tartan or dancing or folk, but it's just all these secondary effects, right, of just connecting with each other that are so powerful. So, man, really exciting, and I'm excited to see the full piece with more interview clips and all that. But we have our last set of bumpers here. We're closing out with the three of your bumpers. I realized, I know we have some zoo footage, but I didn't write down our others. So we've got some zoo footage. What are some of the other things we're going to be featuring in these last
Definitely
pieces?
got some karaoke footage.
Ooh, we got more karaoke. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Mine is kind of just like, I guess, clips, like sentimental, just from the whole time we've been here, remembering like funny moments that have happened.
Awesome,
Yeah, and there have been a lot of them.
There have been. All right, well, excited to close it out with that. Excited to see the full projects coming soon. Well done, y'all. And let's go ahead and roll those bumpers.
He's just having a really good time. Uh-huh.
All independently, just like, oh, what's there to do?
Beautiful. Gorgeous. Oh. Hey guys. And also, like, everyone. I am to these penguins. They're like,
What are you doing down there? Hi.
The button you're supposed to press on the touch screen that fixes it or something, I think. Yeah.
Got it.
I like didn't pay attention enough. You could have told me.
Wait.
If you could return, don't let it burn.
I'm louder.
You're louder? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just put the camera here.
Okay.
Nice.
Ticket reveal.
Ticket reveal.
Tickets.
Something tells me this is not how Caitlin and Maddie got up here.
Yeah. That's okay.
It's like, what if I like get a new intro video from here, but it would just be me like. Okay.
That was too.
Yeah, you used your rights.
You are Mars. So good at lunch and crunching. The head is inside a cloud. Go where the music's loud and all these talking heads are flirting by with you.
All right, and that is our show and the program for us. We're wrapping things up. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched us these past 4 weeks. And again, stay tuned on this channel. We were going to have the full documentaries up in the next couple of weeks. They got to go home. They got to get over jet lag, and then they got to edit and put all this stuff together into their final pieces. So excited for that. But for now, again, thanks so much for joining us for these live streams. Thank you again to Carlin, who's joining us from back home, our studio audience again. And we, of course, want to thank our crew, everybody back here, making it happen. And we will... All right, take care, everybody. Let's roll the credits.